Hello, my Girl Fight family. I am Kathy James, your host, and today I have the pleasure of sharing the mic with Tina Ching. Welcome, Tina.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for having me. I'm really flattered and honored.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here. For those of you that doesn't know, Tina, she is a lawyer, gone entrepreneur. She is the founder of Rise and Make Waves, where she encourages and inspires the Asian Pacific Islander community, women specifically, to rise and be courageous and take on the challenge and rise above the challenges, should I say, to take on their passions. And I'm super excited for you to hear about her story and her path. And I'm going to take a back seat and just let Tina run that because she knows her story better than I do. Tina, whatever you feel comfortable, you have the stage. It's all yours.
Oh, wow. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kathy.
I'll jump in every now and then.
Well, yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So I'm originally from Guam and, moved here to the United States when I was 17 for college and, ended up doing the university thing and ended up going to law school because I didn't know what else I wanted to do. Moved across the country. I went to school in New York and went all the way, ended up in California and then went back. I'm in Arizona now.
Oh, wow.
And I had 3 kids, lovely, amazing kids. And, but over those years, so I've been out here for almost 35 years now. Mm-hmm. And, when you think back, often you kind of think back as to what you've done over all the years, right? And how you ended up where you are, all the choices that you made. And, it was COVID, right? Everybody kind of hit this COVID wall and revelations all over the place. And I was in my job thinking, wow, there has to be more for me here, right?
Right.
And I wasn't feeling the purpose. I wasn't, there were other things going on. And so I just decided, I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to take that leap and just go because why not? Right.
Right.
One of the quotes that I love from Buddha is fear doesn't prevent death. It prevents life. And so when we think about what stops us from living, we talk about fear, but it's more anxiety. It's more not knowing what's going to happen next and not feeling like it's guaranteed. Right. So I jumped and decided to look back. And what I remembered was finding myself, they say now you're the only or you're the double only, right? So in college, I was a woman engineer. Back then, it was in the dark ages, 5% women in engineering. Yeah. And so, I found myself the only one, for example, in my lab class. And the TA, after explaining everything, looked straight at me and said, Tina, do you have any questions? And I did have questions.
But why are you looking at me?
Yeah, why me? He didn't ask anyone else. Right. It was all guys, right? If anyone else had questions, it was just me. And so that was kind of the start of, what we talk about now these days is unconscious bias. It happened all through my life out here in the United States. And, when I think back, I realized that throughout my career and my life, I can count on one hand how many Asian Pacific Islanders were in my life or even in my company that I was working at. And so, when I think back about that, I started to kind of lose my identity. I forgot who I was because I was trying to assimilate. And, we all want to belong. That's our innate need. Sure. Right. And we just all want to feel like we belong. And, when I think back again, it's in hindsight, throughout my marriage as well, I just kind of forgot who I was. Right. In fact, throughout my marriage, my sister, she used to tell me, I want my sister back. I want my sister back. And I used to look at her like, what are you talking about? I'm right here.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got my divorce that I realized that I wasn't really who I was in my marriage. So anyway, so compiling all of that is the reason I started Rise and Make Waves. It's because 35 years later, I still feel that bias and I still am the only one. I'm up here in Northern Arizona, and, you know, with the advent of the internet and you know, everything we can do socially online and connect, which we didn't have in the dark ages when I was, you know. So
had to go to a payphone just to make a phone call.
Exactly, right? Now we can easily just join a group of women who are like us, or you know, career-minded women, or just anyone, you know, where you feel like you have a connection with, which is amazing to me. And so so I thought, you know, I want to kind of help, you know, not only the women now, but also our next generation, my kids, so that they do not ever have to feel the way I did and lose themselves. So now I find, you know, finding that community again, grounding myself back into my values and my culture, and then gaining that courage back to leap and do what you want to do, right? And not feel afraid. So yeah.
That's amazing. I know. I remember you talking about the conversation with your sister the last time that we spoke, and that makes sense. I mean, it's we have these aha moments, these pivotal moments in our lives where we're just like, it all becomes so clear now, and you know, we have a choice, right? We have a choice to, you know, once we recognize it, what do we do with it then? And it sounds like that you took that to heart and that you started to rediscover yourself, not just yourself, but your culture, and to embody that and to sow that back into the generations that are, you know, your children. And that's amazing. But beyond that, you took it a step further. Now you're reaching out to the other women within your community and beyond, to help them to do the same. And that's exactly what Girl Fight's all about. And that's why I think you and I connect so much. So yeah. Definitely. So I appreciate that. So tell me, I mean, I told you earlier, I don't like to lead the conversation, but tell us a little bit about, you know, your background as a lawyer and now entrepreneur. Were you burned out? What?
Yeah. So that's funny because, again, you know, all this thinking back, hindsight. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a CEO. I was like, just wanted to be a CEO. Who knows what that meant, right? And so when I was about to go to college, my dad said, no, you're not going to be, you know, majoring in business because you can learn that in real life. So his idea was, you don't go to school for business, right? And so I thought, okay, great. Now what do I do?
Isn't that a title of a book? School for Business?
Maybe, right? I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
So I'm sure it is. Yeah, I agree. I have a podcast too. So I thought, okay, now what do I do? Well, I was good in math and science, you know, the typical. And so I thought, all right, I guess I'll do engineering. I like Legos. So, you know, I was like, all right, I'll just do engineering. Well, you know, fast forward, I didn't have a job upon graduating college. A lot of my friends did. And so I freaked out. And so I thought, well, I'll just do what everybody else does. I'll go to law school. So I went to law school and ended up being a lawyer, which is so funny because my dad's a lawyer. So I didn't plan that at all. But yeah, so when I think about, you know, throughout my whole life, I've always kind of wanted to do something. And even I stayed home with my kids for 15 years. And even then, like, I took cake decorating classes and I thought, oh, I'm going to decorate cakes for people, you know? And so I did that maybe for a week. You know,
one cake.
Yeah, like one cake. Somebody asked me to make it and pay me for it. I was like, cool, let's do it. But, you know, so there was always these things, you know, I was I was a mediator. And so I started my own mediation company for about a couple years, but found out people like to litigate. They just don't want to mediate. I mean, that was, years ago. So long story short is I've always kind of wanted to do something on my own. And so I was burnt out in the sense that I needed more. So, you kind of reach that point where I'm kind of doing the same things over and over again. I need something new.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so I just kind of, you couple that with COVID and just life in general. So that's what I did.
Honestly, I mean, I had been kind of running, if you will, not running, but I had this passion for girl fight. Maybe I didn't know the name of it or what it would look like exactly, but I had a passion for at least 15 years, if not more. Right. And so, but there was always something, and it, like you, it finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I can't ignore it anymore. There's got to be more to life than this.
Exactly.
And, passion and purpose. Right. And you couple those two together and you're a rock star.
Yeah. Find your why, right? Everybody's like, find your why.
Yes, absolutely. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, exactly. That's exactly how I felt. It's like there was just something, I don't know what, right? And I'm still always pivoting, right? We're always kind of pivoting what we do, but I do know, and which is why I love my girl fight, is like you resonate with me as well, because we want to lift up women.
Yes.
And our and our girls, right? And our children. Yes. And also, and I want to make sure this is important, right? To also teach our sons.
Yes.
To lift up their sisters and their moms and their daughters, right? So yeah.
My sons learned a lot through my story because I talk to them often. They know they're my cheerleaders right now. I mean, they probably wouldn't like to be called cheerleaders, but they are supporting me. My son, yes. My oldest son asks me often about my book, and every now and then I'll see that he has shared some of my posts as well. And I'm like, that's not common. And I just really love our relationship and how much they've grown, and the fact that I have broken those horrible destructive habits off of their lives. Now, I started out, not so great. So, but we're ending well. But yes, it's important to pass that on to our children and to the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's great. Wow, you're doing a good job with your sons.
And you're doing an amazing job with your kids as well. So it's just an amazing thing to be able to have that legacy. And I can't wait for us to look back and go, oh, we thought we were doing something then. Look at us, look at them now. I truly believe that they're going to do great things. So, they got some great moms.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for
I can be self-proclaimed, but they think so too. So, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Rise and Make Waves.
So, right now I am trying to get into a lot of the different, there's a lot of organizations who really have put together, communities of the Asian Pacific Islander women. And so I've been kind of networking, I guess is what you can say.
Nice.
And which is great, right? Because now I already kind of know personally what I went through, but also want to make sure, is that resonating with everybody else, which we do find is pretty much the same. So, networking into these groups, because it's wonderful to now find that community, which I don't have here, and just meeting everybody. And then, then having the coaching, right? So I coach cohorts, and then I also coach one-on-one, but I the cohorts are, for me, more fun because it's a community and we kind of learn from each other as opposed to just me,
Right.
I'm not the end all, right? It's like,
right.
I feel like we can all learn from each other and each other's experiences. Yeah. And we can connect better in a cohort. Yes. I would love to start doing retreats, which I think would be really fun. Because one of the things I feel is important, and I know this isn't just for the Asian Pacific Islander women, for all of us women, is that we lose our identity. And then with that, we lose our confidence, right? Yes. And a lot of that has to do with our values and our culture or our upbringing. And we tend to lose that because a lot of times our values and our upbringing clashes with societal expectations, right? And this has been happening for years and years and years, right?
We kind of conform.
Exactly.
Line.
Right.
That's horrible. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Because how are we supposed to get that promotion? How are we supposed to, get listened to in that meeting, right? Because if we're surrounded by all men, right? So one of the things is, and I think I've got off on a tangent here, is like,
no, it's okay.
Retreat, I thought for a retreat, it would be really wonderful to then come back and have that community where we remember where we come from. We remember our values. We remember that and feel that confidence building again within us so that we can go back out there.
Right.
And then just stay grounded in ourselves. And then your confidence will then be there. Like, you'll be like, oh yeah, I do have confidence.
Right.
I do believe that I am worthy and valuable and my voice matters. So therefore I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
For a few years, I battled with my confidence, and it was a little bit of combination of a little bit of everything. It was the role that I was in, and within my role at work, and I wasn't serving my why, and it was my coworkers around me, it was a little bit of everything, and one day it just hit me. I'm just like, you are a badass and everything else. Yes, what is the problem here? And I had to take a come to Jesus meeting with Kathy, and I had to kind of remind myself and come back to those basics, those roots of how I gained that confidence in the first place, and I would literally buckle under when being around my peers, and it was like I would shut down. But yet here I am, I'm podcasting and hosting, and I'm a trainer, and there are still moments where I don't feel as confident. You can feel it, but I'm a very outgoing, loving, confident, badass woman. So right. And we lose ourselves in our corporate environments, in our relationships, in life, and so I think it's important that we reconnect with our why, and kind of, in a sense also, build that an area where we can build each other up and build our confidence. And so I think that's a wonderful idea, and I better be on the list.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Like, I love how you said
I'll bring my jammies.
I love how you say that, because, we're not always confident. Like, we can't be 100% confident 100% of the time. Like, we just have to know where it is. Like, I like to think that we've always had it within us, right? But then we just forget that it's there. It's just pushed down from society and everything, right? That we just kind of hide it because we're trying to fit in, right? I think the Brene Brown said, the opposite of belonging is fitting in. And so when we're trying to fit in, we're now saying to ourselves that we don't belong as we are, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, I love that you say that, because I'm not confident every single day. I mean, you could probably say something and trigger me.
Right.
Right. And then I'd have to go, okay.
Like, oh.
Right, exactly. And it's all about our self-talk, right? I like to say, I mean, what we say is we like to talk story, and that's what we do. on the
That's
island.
a big thing now.
Story. Yeah. So we talk story on the islands, and I said, well, what are we saying to ourselves? Like, what story are we telling ourselves?
Right.
And that's exactly what you were saying. You're like, I had to remind myself what a badass I am. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that. No, just say, remind yourself that you're a badass, because you are.
Yes. It's funny though. I forget who it was now. Somebody, another girlfriend of mine that I met in Australia. She uses sticky notes. I mean, she has them everywhere. Yeah. She shows them to me because she picks them up and she shows them to me, picks them up and shows them to me. And I'm like, I used to do that, but I used to do it on my mirror so that I would see it when I get up in the morning. This is my reminder to myself that I need to make sticky notes and put them on my mirror again.
Yeah, you do. I do too. I have that too. Except I use dry erase markers. So I just
on the mirror?
On the mirror. Or, they say you can use your lipstick or something.
Yeah. I'll do that. And then my son will come in the bathroom and go, oh, Mom.
You know what? That's so funny because I did the same thing. I put it on my daughter's mirror and they erased it right away.
Yeah. He wouldn't erase it. I think he would just, honestly, I think that whatever I say, as long as I'm not like going, you're a badass woman,
Right.
He might take it. I don't know. It might inspire him. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I hope that comes to fruition. That will come to fruition, and I can't wait to hear all about it. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm your biggest fan here with my girlfriend. I'm awesome. Definitely better be on the list as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think that we're going to do great things together.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Yes. There's some great stuff coming. I'm going to have to get you over to Virginia, and I'll just have to come to Arizona, or we'll meet somewhere in the middle or something.
Yeah, that sounds good. I love it. Okay, promise.
Yes, promise. But is there, before we say our goodbyes, because I think that with the retreat and everything that you're doing there, I feel like that's like, it goes to show how far you've come in your journey and the passion that you have for the community. And I just want to leave it there, but allow you to speak from your heart directly to the audience, whatever you have for them.
Thank you. Gosh, I think I would say, and I know, you, Kathy, and you and I kind of shared our stories before about going through divorces and just life, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I would just want to share with everybody is, we're all going to have our ups and downs. And one of the things that really got me through my hardest times was knowing that it wasn't permanent, and that you will get through it, and you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so with what you're doing, Kathy, and what I'm doing is to not only remind women that, you're going to have this, low part in your life, and there's going to be many, mm-hmm. knowing that you got through it before, you're going to get through it again. But also remembering what badass you are, like you said, yes. And just staying grounded. We're just remembering who you truly are. Like, right. Get rid of all the noise, get rid of what society is telling you, forget what anybody says about you, what they think, what they're saying, and just go into that quiet place and just remember that, because that's the only way that us as women are going to regain that confidence and keep it there to then right. show up, right? Because yes. that's what we need to do. We all need to show up, and we need to speak up and just stand up for ourselves. So yes. I think that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that I picked out of that is for those of you in the audience that feel like you don't happen to have somebody that you can feel, that you can trust, or, or that you want someone to be a cheerleader, You've got Tina, you've got Kathy, you've got all the lovely ladies that were on My Girl Fight. You've got a community that is willing and able to surround you and support you and to help you along that path, because you're not alone. Yes. You don't have to do it alone. And that's what we're here for. This is the purpose of Girl Fight. This is the purpose of Rise and Make Waves. And I'm just extremely excited to be able to partner with Tina. And I know that you would be in great hands with Tina or any of the other ladies that have been on this podcast. So if you need somebody, make sure you reach out to us if no one else, because we're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said, Kathy.
Yes. Yes. You. So one more thing before we say our goodbyes. Tina, you also used to teach martial arts, wasn't it?
So I didn't teach it. I have a black belt in Kung Fu and a black belt in...
you could have taught it.
Yeah, in Filipino Arnis, which is stick weapons. And that's another thing that I did that helped me feel powerful. And it's amazing. It's amazing to hit things.
I will say, I'm going to post a picture of her with the video that when we first connected, I hadn't met her yet, but I was just like, this is perfect. She's got the girl fight stance way better than I do, but she's got it. So we're going to end on that. Go get your girl fight on.